it.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt here with Lexi Law Dog, who's taking a nap, and we're talking about new laws, new federal laws, new Texas laws, and how they might impact you. And so in the first segment and second segment, we talked about the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, and we talked about some strategies for reducing federal estate tax liability if the One Big Beautiful Bill Act fails to pass. And we talked about the income tax consequences if that law fails to pass, because the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act will expire at the end of 2025, and it will impact you either way. And so you might want to prepare for income taxes or estate taxes. And I do have a caller on the phone, and Mark's trying to get him to talk with me on the air. But later this segment, we'll be talking about legacy. And you probably do know that Father's Day is coming up. I'm not going to be talking about Father's Day next week because I'm going to be having a pre-recorded show during that time, because I'll be hunting wild feral hogs with my two sons and their friends. But something good about Father's Day is it always reminds me about the Bible verse regarding the prodigal son. Can we do the Saints and the Legacy Spotlight? So this...
And now, it's time for the Talk Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy? Sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm.
So I'd like to talk about legacy because Marquardt Law Firm sponsors the show, and attorneys at Marquardt Law Firm focus on business and estate law, including last wills, living trusts, and tax-protected inheritance plans. And the central theme of all those things is legacy. How am I going to be remembered? And as I was thinking about my father and my two grandfathers and all the clients that I see every day, every week, and every month and every year, is that you either have a legacy of that person's affairs were in order, or they have a legacy of leaving a legal mess. And so you probably don't want to do that. You don't want to leave a legacy of a legal mess, which is your heirs have to go through a complicated court process. You have to have evidence and testimony in a legal proceeding in front of a judge just to prove that they're related to you so they could inherit what you wanted them to have anyway. A lot of times the legal mess is the wrong people get to inherit the property because it wasn't written down in a valid last will or living trust. Some legal mess that could happen is the family farm or the family ranch has to be sold to pay the federal estate taxes. Nobody wants to see that. But then it was also reminding me of the family relationships that we developed while we were alive. Are you going to be remembered for having a good family relationship or a bad one or something in between? And I was thinking about the relationships between fathers and sons. Fathers and sons and fathers and daughters don't always agree on everything. And does that cause a rift in the relationship? Does that cause the relationship to drift apart? I think that it's worth talking about. And I'm not a therapist. I just play one on TV. By the way, if you haven't heard about Todd's Tacos, search for it on Facebook. It's not under Talk Law Radio. Me as an individual, Todd Marquardt, will show you how to make tacos, and I'll talk about some of my wisdom. Okay, so back to the legacy segment. You have somebody on the phone? Oh, great. Okay, I just can't see it. Bert, you're live on the air. Tell me what you're
Todd.
thinking.
What I'm thinking is I'm very thankful that you have this program, and I say greetings, and because I've gained a great deal of insight since I've turned into my 60s on the senior laws and aspects of it, and I very well appreciate the insight that you give.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you for the compliment. You have any question today?
Well, no, I'm going to call the law firm because there's something, like you said, about legacy I have to get involved with because I have nobody. I have a problem with the VAs with care because I don't have blood kin. And there's something about getting someone designated as a ward. I can call the law firm in the week about that. But I wanted to say I was very thankful that you had the two runoff candidates on 2 weeks ago, I believe it was. And
Right.
Miss Jones, she just put the nail in the coffin the way she talked at you instead of with you. Mr. Pablo has got my vote for sure, and I wish more of them would come on when you had the series going on prior to the election.
Yeah, you'll notice that the guy that got third place refused to be on the show. And so I like to think that that's why he did so poorly in the polls.
Hey, well, I just never vote for politicians, especially if they're a career politician, because I see that nowhere in the Constitution. I'm all about term limits.
Right.
And I'm also about no gun regulations at all. You should be able to own whatever size barrel, caliber, weapon you own. The Second Amendment, as far as I'm concerned, is our right to bear arms.
Well, thank you for exercising your right and for talking about it, and hopefully you tell others the same.
I always do. That's what you said. You must have character in this life, and it's like when you go to the grave, you got your birth date and your expiry date. And I like to ask people, what did you do with your dash, that line in between?
That's right. Well, I look forward to talking to you in person. Thank you for calling the show.
You're quite welcome, and keep it up. Keep up the good work, and never let your face... I mean, I know sometimes it does. Life is also not fair. Like you said, with the father and daughter and the father and son, life ain't easy neither.
Amen. Take care. Thanks for the call. All right. Well, that was a lot of fun talking to him about... him complimenting me, that was really cool. And then also him talking about the mayor's race. He must be watching every week. That's terrific. And I'm really glad that he exercises his constitutional rights. I look forward to getting to know him a little bit better. So the gospel says something about fathers. And I have met people throughout my life that didn't have a relationship with their biological father or had a relationship with their father that was very dysfunctional or unloving. And I'm sorry about that. That's a tragedy that you had to endure. But I have heard pastors give sermons about that. And like I said, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a theologian. I'm just telling you what I heard. That God the Father, who is love, can be your surrogate father. Just think about it. If you need a father, I think God the Father is there for you. And at least that's what I believe. You might believe something different, but that's my belief. And I just wanted to say it on the radio because it's Father's Day. And if your biological father let you down, you still have a heavenly Father that you can honor this Sunday. And as you're thinking about your earthly legacy and how you want to be remembered, one way is to write a last will or living trust that designates where your assets, your property, your things are going to go. And you can leave them to whoever you want, subject to some community property limitations, only if you write it down. And you want to see a lawyer to help you with that and use the legal words that make those transfers legally effective and enforceable. I heard a case study about a will that was self-written by an individual, and because of the punctuation, the court had required additional evidence required in order to get that will through the probate process. And so it could be something as simple as correct punctuation. And you don't want to use an internet will. Somebody asked me, what's the difference in cost between a lawyer-written will and an internet will? And I said about $30,000, because that's what it might cost for a lawsuit to interpret that internet will, because a lot of times people don't fill those out correctly. I talked with an individual some time ago who was trying to get his brother qualified for nursing home Medicaid, and I was trying to explain how to give the Health and Human Services Commission the information that they needed to approve the application. And I said, if you don't follow all of these steps to the letter, you don't dot your I's and cross your T's, they're going to deny the application. And so a lot of the work that we do in those matters is not interpreting the law as much as it is just making sure that everything's organized. And the same can be true for your estate. There's lots of advice that I give to people that just practically helps things to go smoother so that the transition is seamless. Well, I've been talking a lot about legacy because that's one of the focuses of our show, but I also implore you to listen to the first two segments of this episode where I talk about the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which has been passed by the House of Representatives. The Senate is considering it. They might make changes. If they do, it goes back to the House. If it's passed, then the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, income tax cuts will be made permanent. I don't want my income taxes to go up. I think I already pay enough in income taxes. If you want to debate that, email me at host@talklawradio.com. Let me know what your thoughts are. Also, you can find me on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you can watch those episodes anytime you want. I'm Todd Marquardt. This is Talk Law Radio. I'll talk to you later.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.